back to philosophy. And this is a philosophy about reality. Yay! All right, so I did have the note here. If I'm not mistaken, I think I was driving the car. Yes. So an adventure happened 4 days ago. And I slept at the mountains with my dad at my dad's house, and he had a flight the next day, and he's a pilot. So on our way back to the city, I had to drop him to the airport. Halfway through, he was like, "Where's my jacket?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You're responsible for your shit. I'm responsible for mine. We don't have a jacket. What the fuck? What's going on?" All that stuff started coming back and forth. And then I look at him and I go, "Look, okay, what are our options?" And our options were for me to go see if there's a jacket in the house in Beirut, in the city. Or like, why the fuck not? Let's do this. And basically, as I actually like dropped him, I went directly to the house as fast as I can within the speed limit. It's Lebanon, dude. The speed limit is 60 on a road that nobody goes under 120 in. It's not a road, it's like autopiste, a highway. But yeah, so lucky our house is literally like at the end of the highway, so one highway to go and one highway to come. But I had to climb like 5 stairs. Anyways, no, my bad. We actually had like electricity that day, so like the elevator was running. So I went up in the elevator and I came down. That saved us like 10 minutes or something, which was amazing. But so while I was going up the stairs, I remember thinking for some reason, like, our reality starts off in a very linear fashion. And and it expands accordingly. And the best way I thought of it is like a tree kind of coming up, because that's basically how it starts. But then when it expands in the same fashion, but it doesn't expand from one point to another. It doesn't expand one point after another, after another, after another. It encompasses many things on its way, and it starts basically collecting different fragments of different things and combining them into like a reality. I think the best way to look at it is because when you first like are born, you're like looking at the world from where you are. Oh, like okay, so like from where you are, I mean like from the household or from the family whole or from the side of your mom. Like you're always kind of like getting exposed to that kind of thing. But that's not what made me think about it. What made me think about it was the actual when you really want to grow within your field, it's the line that you're working with is basically your field's line. But true growth within the field is when you apply different concepts of different things on the same line that is your field. So you are moving linearly with whatever it is you're doing, and you get to decide that purpose, right? You get to decide where do you want to go or how do you want to go towards it. But true growth starts happening when things that have nothing to do with it are being applied. So basically, you're expanding to different things, and your reality is kind of like expanding. But all the effort that's going all the way to the outside is combining back to the direction that you're going. So you're still expanding linearly, but you're having all these like side quests in your evolution. Funny, I said side quests because that's the, never mind. I'm not going to talk about my platform now. But if you're leveling up and you're leveling up from a game's perspective, and you look at life, and every step you're taking is directed towards something. At one point, you're going to realize that you're kind of like, even as an expert, what's going to like expand your mind to look at it from a different angle? What are the things that are going to like come close to what you're trying to do and kind of like push for it from different ways? It was an important thing for me, especially when I started like thinking about it, because as I said before, like I'm trying to do a lot of things and establish bases in a lot of things. And the goal for that is because I'm still walking in one direction. I'm still walking towards one thing only. But the more stuff I have around me, that means anytime I'm exploring with the vision. of one thing in front of me, but with the eyes that see everything else that contribute to it. And that's the train of thought that I have that kind of like allows me to be still energetic, even though like I'm kind of stretched out thin, and even like be excited when stability that I'm looking forward that I'm looking towards in my life is not really like something that exists. I love being at home, man. I love being at home and just like diving into something for 3, 4 hours straight, stretches at a time, right? Like that's a comfort space that I'm allowed to kind of like jump in, kind of like move into and like be involved into. And I feel like that's kind of like part of the reason why I'm not fully 100%, uh, where I'm not moving with that strut, and like fully comfortable or like just, I don't know, man. You're on the cusp of like taking that evolutionary step where you're like something brand new. And I feel that it's fine because I really do understand that like everything happens when it actually happens. And the stronger my intention towards it is, and the stronger my preparation towards it is, and when it happens, it kind of like clicks and becomes a thing. So for me, the important thing right now is more towards understanding how my reality is kind of like expanding, and the things that I'm seeing, I need them to settle down by the end of the year. And I placed that target. I placed that target on December. The goal is for December to be the day where everything's kind of like set, for December to be the month where everything is like kind of established to a point where we're able to take a step forward. And that step forward is the new the new kind of like stage, the new level of engagement, where my actual website is online and I get to go and bring people on it, and I get to like start thinking of how to promote it and market it, and diving deeper into the documentation and the business plan in order for me to start approaching people differently and better, and to be able to kind of like establish it in the actual society. My first step in the new world goes back to the whole like, again, I am establishing the things that are required and building a base so that as I move forward, I'll be able to like apply the things that I see on smaller things and different things, so that like step by step I'll be able to like move towards whatever it is, towards my vision and my imagination and the new world that I want to create. It all seems like big words, by the way, but it's really not. Like, your reality can expand as far as whatever it is that you want to be looking at. Some people are expanding it all the way to space. Some people are expanding it all the way to their fucking like neighbor's house. That doesn't matter. You get to make that decision, and as long as you're moving towards it, fuck yeah, man, that's gonna happen. It's bound to happen. I made a video about that. But the linear expansion thing is something that's very interesting for me because even though sometimes you might feel like you're going in different directions, and sometimes you might feel like you're actually skewing from the road, the reality is what you're doing is basically collecting elements that you would use later on in the future on the same road. You never know what that's going to happen, what the path is going to happen, what the path is going to have. You never know the things you might have to deal with. And the more prepared you are, because the more you understand where you're trying to go, the easier it becomes for you to kind of like build that resistance or tenacity towards these kinds of things. I really think I should have been able to expand more on this, but I was in such a rush. All I did was like took a note about the thought itself instead of where it came from specifically. Although the way I'm thinking about it right now makes sense to me, but it doesn't necessarily feel that that's what I was actually thinking of back then. It was probably the adrenaline rush. It was probably the time limits on we have to do this, we have to do this, that started bringing all kinds of thoughts in my head. But it's fun to kind of have these like random moments where you go like, oh, I have an idea, but like you kind of like fuck up on how to explain it. But by doing it this way, what I do is I basically register it as an official thing that I thought about. And when I look back at this book and I think about it and I go like, aha, I actually thought about something that's interesting enough for me to write it down. And then I kind of trace back the storyline behind it. So I enhanced my memory. I strengthened my bond with that moment. And then after that, what do I do? Well, whatever thought I have, I elaborate on it from the person I am right now and the evolution from that point till now. And the idea behind it is now it becomes a part of my reality on how I'm trying to establish the view that I have on reality. And sometime in the future, it will pop back again, and I promise you, when it's relevant, it will pop back again. And eventually, it will get resolved. And the goal is to get better at resolving them as they actually come up. And the closer you actually the closer you make that pattern. Because, like as a pattern, sometimes it could be a month, sometimes it could be a year, sometimes it could be a couple of years. But if you can bring it down to like a day, 2 days, a week, an hour, these patterns are actually very significant in our life because they're what we build upon. They're the building blocks of all the things that will become bigger and bigger and bigger in the future. And it's clearing thoughts like these that happened only because you have established different thoughts before and different patterns before, and they basically add more water to the concrete in order for it to become stronger and stiffer. So, as always, man, thank you for listening to me. This is like super fucking great. Whoever you are, man, you're fucking beautiful. Uh, why the fuck not, man? I really hope one day I'll be able to like look at the few people that actually are following me, and I'm like actually like writing them down. And when my company sets up, and I'll be able to find a way to contact them, and maybe we can actually like I don't know, just hang out, or maybe just share something. That'll be cute. Thank you guys. We'll see you soon.